Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. How are you? My name is Liku Amadi, founder and attorney of Vanessa Law Firm, where I work with online service providers to help them establish a solid legal foundation for business. And one of the main ways that I do that is through custom contracts. So, first things first, I am a licensed attorney. However, nothing I say in this live is legal advice, only legal information for educational purposes only. So, today's topic, as it relates to contracts, is around avoiding payment disputes with your clients. Nobody likes them. Everybody wants to get paid. Nobody wants money to be an issue. I'm also going to be talking about my upcoming contracts work session, which I'm super excited about for December 15th, right before we start the new year. So stay tuned for that at the end. But first things first is three tips on how to avoid getting into payment disputes with your clients because we want to be proactive and not reactive, right? So, tip number one is having the utmost clarity around your services, right? It's not enough to say that you just, provide someone a transformation in their business or, use vague language that's up for interpretation. We want to be clear about what it is that we are doing for people when they pay us money. So, whatever that service package is, breaking it down to include, I'm sorry, to specify everything that is included in you providing that service, right? That includes your client's responsibilities as well. So, whatever is needed for you to execute your part, you need to let the client know, right? Communication, any, let's say, homework or assessments, scheduling meetings, operating within a specific schedule or timeline, right? Because sometimes our services are based on a specific timeline, let's say like a 6 month coaching service or a VIP day that needs to be scheduled, right? So just having the utmost clarity on what people are investing in. And that helps limit confusion as to what people are getting, right? That helps manage the client's expectations as to what the outcome of working with you should be. So, being extremely clear on what your duties and responsibilities are, the part that you play for this client, and also letting them know the part that they play in the relationship because you don't want to get to a point where because your services and your offering was not clear, your client is questioning whether they got their bang for their buck or whether they're finished working with you or whether they actually received the transformation, right? You want to be very clear as to what you are doing, what is required of your clients. And I didn't say this yet, but also what you are not doing. Anything to limit that confusion as to what your services entail. So, tip number one, again, is having the utmost clarity in your offerings and your service packages. Tip number two is having thorough payment policies. This is a part where I really take time to work with my clients as to what their payment policies are, especially during this tough economic time in society. We are having more and more payment plans set up with clients, right? We want it to be easy for them to pay us. We want them to have that flexibility when it comes to payment, and that just means more policies, right? So, payment policies include late fees, refunds, of course, any terms around installments or multiple payments, any terms around stopping payments, declined payments, all of those things, right? You really want to capture what your policies and terms are around receiving the money, managing the money, and giving the money back if it ever comes to that for whatever reason. So, payment policies are super important because when there's a dispute, it's often around money. Like somebody will probably say, "Hey, I want my money back. Give me my money back," or "I don't think I'm getting the outcome," or "my expectations aren't being met. Like, where's my money at?" Right? It always goes back to the money because money is a sensitive topic. People are investing their money in you and they expect something. And so, for whatever reason, if they are not getting that, or if they simply can't work with you, your payment policies will provide a guide as to how to go ahead and handle that. Because issues with money may come up, but that doesn't mean that they have to turn into an issue or a problem or something that can't be resolved, right? It doesn't have to escalate. And so, payment policies come into place because not only do they reflect your own business policies and operations and how you handle money and deal with clients, but it provides the clients with a guide as to how their investment and money will be working while working with you, right? So you have your protections on their end, and they have their protections because they are receiving guidance on what is happening with their money, how to get their money back, if there are additional fees, right? Whatever those policies are, you just want to be really thorough and lay them out. And this is going to be different for everyone, right? Again, depending if you're providing payment policy, I'm sorry, installment payments, like your policies are going to look a lot different versus someone who is just providing like a paid in full option or a 50-50 split option. So keep that in mind, but you do want to brainstorm, and this is what we do: is we strategize different scenarios that may come up. So for example, what happens when someone doesn't pay on time? Is the business owner still working? Are they still delivering their services? What happens if they don't pay and the timeline for, let's say, that 6-week project gets pushed out and now it's 8 weeks, right? Like, how does that impact your client relationship? So your payment policies do a lot more than tell people what to pay. This is when you pay and how you pay, but it kind of informs the way that you do, the way that you deliver your service. So that is tip number two: having thorough payment policies. And then tip number three is having a great dispute resolution policy. So issues are going to come up. That's just the nature of business. You can have the utmost clarity in your services. You can have the most thorough payment policies and try to account for any little thing. But sometimes issues are still going to be brought to the table. And when that happens, number one, you of course want to look to your contract. And because it's thorough and has been custom tailored around how you do business and the services that you provide, you'll likely find a solution. But in those one-off situations where you don't want to end up in a situation where the issue just escalates, especially if it's over money, right? Talking to different lawyers, sending letters, the relationship between you and the client starts to become one of friction versus one of partnership. So a dispute resolution policy is your opportunity to lay out the process as to how you're going to solve an issue, right? Telling the client, like, look, when there's an issue, this is what we're going to do. Number one, for example, you're going to give me notice, like whenever you realize that there's an issue with your payments or whatever else. Number two, for example, we're going to try to work it out. Number three, mediate, right? So you can literally craft a dispute resolution system or policy. And again, that helps you as a business owner because you're not stepping into a situation where it's kind of like there's an issue, I don't know what to do. Now it's just going to escalate and blow up, and people's feelings are getting involved, and they're mad and they're frustrated and they're saying things and it's not working. And your client, of course, is also feeling the same way. There's money on the line. You want to be in a situation where you are protected, you have control. And then with that, your client is also protected because, again, just like the payment policies, you are providing them with guidance as to how we're going to resolve this issue, right? You've already laid out a map for them. So at the outset, you've created that foundation. Again, the contract is the foundation of a client relationship. So you've laid that foundation as to, look, this is how we're going to work together, and this is how we're going to resolve problems. And from there on, you're already on the same page as to, how we're going to go about solving this problem. And that is very valuable. It saves you lots of money, lots of time, lots of energy and stress, right? So that you don't have to end up in a relationship that's now based on friction, but you can do so moving forward with collaboration. So That is tip number 3, is having a thorough dispute resolution policy to protect yourself as the business owner, to guide the clients, and one that contains whatever issue that is, instead of having it blow up, which no one will like. So those are my 3 tips for you. Check the Hey Romeo, how you doing? Let me know if one of those tips resonated with you. If you're catching this on the replay, go ahead and comment below #replay. If you have questions or would like to get on my calendar to talk about contracts, then please send me a DM or book a link on my website. Super excited to announce to y'all my contracts work session happening December 15th. So this is an opportunity, a hands-on opportunity for you to literally have your contract. This is a virtual event. So print out your contract, have your contract next to you, and be guided as to where the red flags in your client contract are. Again, when we think about our client contract, it is literally the most important part of our client relationships. You did all that work, you're bringing in clients. Now you got leads just coming out the woo-wah, right? You got them lining up to work with you, and you need a contract that can protect your clients and also protect you, right? As you're bringing in all of this money, we want to make sure that foundation is strong. And often people are winging it with contract templates, templates that they created themselves, templates that they borrowed from their business partner, or templates that were contracts that were found, just not something that's customized. And that's totally okay, because as business owners, I mean, we do what we do with what we got, with what we know, right? But at a certain level, when you know better, you do better. When you're getting to that point where it's like, I don't know if my contract protects me. I don't know if my contract is giving what it's supposed to give when I'm out here doing business and collecting thousands of dollars from people who trust me to work with them, right? When you get to that point, you have the responsibility to make sure that your contract is on the up and up, that the most important piece of your client relationship is solid and provides that foundation for both of you to work from. So we're going to be going through those red flags. This is a 2-hour work session where you bring your contracts. I will be guiding you as to what red flags may be present in your contract, and you will be able to assess what those red flags are, where they are, how they're impacting you in their business. You'll also be able to see, okay, you know what? There are a few things that I'm doing right? And we'll have a short Q&A session at the end. So what it is not is a personalized session for you to get specific legal advice. This event is for 25 people. So we will all be working and going through our own contracts at the same time. And then I will take group questions at the end. Too many business owners have access to too much information out there, and information is great, but we often sit on it. So this is an opportunity for us to actually apply the information in that setting, in the 2-hour contracts work session. We will be working. So apply that information and walk away with a lot more clarity about the foundation that you're really providing to your clients when they invest that money to work with you. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link in the comments. Again, 25 seats are available. If you have questions as to whether this is right for you, or if you could benefit from this contract work session, the answer is likely yes, but I'm happy to entertain questions in the comments or in my DM. So feel free to send me a message. Again, December 15th, 2-hour contracts work session. Bring your contract and leave with the utmost clarity as to where the red flags are and what you need to do to tighten up going into 2023 as these clients continue to line up to work with you. With that being said, I'm going to give you the rest of your day or night or morning back. Happy Wednesday, I believe it is. And catch me on the next live. If you want to know more about contracts, go through my profile and scroll through the previous lives, because I'm always talking about contracts. All right. I will catch y'all on the next live. Have a good one.